I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and her. She was married.
Huge news there.
I got to use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the...
It makes me sick to my stomach. I don't like to even say the words that he's used in the past when he calls women pigs, dogs, and slobs. I didn't like saying it on stage the other night with my mom and my wife sitting in the front row.
Okay, that audio is from an Access Hollywood shoot back in 2005. Donald Trump wearing a microphone on that bus that you saw. He was on his way actually to tape a soap opera episode and caught on the tape with a number of lewd things about women that he tried to court at some point who were married. It goes on for quite some time. There's a lot of reaction to this, as you can imagine. The Trump campaign and Mr. Trump put out a statement saying this was locker room banter, a private conversation that took place many years ago. Bill Clinton has said far worse to me on the golf course, not even close. I apologize if anyone was offended. Hillary Clinton tweeted, this is horrific. We cannot allow this man to become president. Meantime, Hillary Clinton has her own problems to deal with, not only the email scandal that is now showing the interaction between the White House and the Clinton campaign, but now WikiLeaks putting out a number of emails that are showing the transcripts of her paid speeches behind closed doors. BuzzFeed has excerpts of these transcripts, and there is a major subject of contention, obviously, in the Democratic primary when Bernie Sanders is calling for them to be released. It includes quotes from Clinton about her distance from middle-class life, quote, I'm kind of far removed. Her vision of strategic governing, quote, you need both a public and a private position. Her views on Wall Street, healthcare, and trade policy, quote, my dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders. These come from John Podesta's emails that obviously were hacked. We're going through all of these, and there's a lot of them. Now let's look at our latest poll. Let's just put that up. Came out tonight at the top of the show. The four-way race here, Clinton on top by 2. That is a statistical tie within the margin of error. Whew. Let's bring in our panel. Matthew Continetti, editor-in-chief of the Washington Free Beacon. Lisa Booth, columnist with the Washington Examiner. Amy Walter, national editor for the Cook Political Report, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. All right, Amy, put it in context.
Put it in context. Everything you just put at the top of the show is the reason that so many voters in this country are saying, I can't believe I have to choose between one of these two people to be president of the United States. It's why you're seeing the frustration in many voters that I speak to about having to make a choice between two people that they don't feel particularly good about. And each of these topics that you raised go to the very heart of the difficulties that each of these candidates have. For Hillary Clinton, I've only started digging through some of these transcripts, but well,
you see why she didn't put them out.
Why she didn't put them out. Absolutely. It goes straight to the heart of what Bernie Sanders supporters have said about her, and even what a lot of younger voters saying about her. She's part of this rigged system and had benefited from it, and has said things publicly, privately, that she's not saying publicly, especially when you talked about trade and some of these other issues. And for Donald Trump, it goes right into the heart of what people dislike the most about him, his temperament, his judgment, the way he treats people. And so what voters are left with, once again, is a reminder of why they're so frustrated with this election and their choices.
No, I think that is a completely accurate statement. I mean, it does continue to feed the existing perceptions that people have about the candidates. And what's particularly damaging is that there's only 31 days left, so there's not a whole heck of a lot of time to try to shape voters' opinions. And I think it also represents how pivotal Sunday night is heading into the second presidential debate, because there really aren't aren't many opportunities to try to change voters' minds. So if you're Donald Trump, you know, he needs to do some cleanup on Sunday night to convince voters that he does care about them, convince voters that he does have the temperament to be commander-in-chief. If you're Hillary Clinton, and there's also the vice presidential comments about how, or Biden's comments about how some voters, you know, he knows voters don't like Hillary Clinton, right? And so Hillary Clinton is going to try to go into Sunday night and convince voters that she understands their problems and try to, you know, connect with them to some degree.
Matthew, we're just getting, you know, these emails, so we're kind of going through them live, real time. Obviously, the audio came out late this afternoon. and a number of places went whole hog with it, and you could see why networks maybe are going to take that. It is kind of hit you in the face when you listen to all of it.
Well, the rhetoric is extreme, even for Trump, which is saying something. And you definitely know that that's exactly what Hillary Clinton is going to want to stress in the debate on Sunday. She's going to want to turn the debate to Donald Trump, exactly like Tim Kaine did. The question is whether Trump can turn it back like Mike Pence did. I think there is some ammunition for Trump in these transcripts. Two of them jump out at me. One is her call for a North America with open borders. And for Donald Trump in particular, who has staked so much on the immigration issue, this is something he'll stress. The other is where she talks about sometimes you need to have a public position in addition to your private position. And that goes to the heart of the untrustworthiness problem that Hillary Clinton has had throughout this campaign.
Okay, I want to put up two polls. One is women in the Fox News poll. Clinton has 50% to Trump 38%, and that actually is a bit of a change for his numbers with women. The other one is honest and trustworthy, and this is upside down for both of them. And Clinton's at yes, honest and trustworthy, 33%, and Trump 36%. Charles, of these two stories, which one more damaging, fitting the narrative of both candidates?
Well, that's a little bit hard to judge. We also haven't had a chance to go through all the transcripts of what Hillary said. But based on a very small sample, there is some devastating ammunition there, particularly open borders and open trade.
I mean, remember, these are speeches given to Wall Street firms in which they are transcripts of speeches that she wrote and delivered. There are emails going back and forth with John Podesta that they need to scrub the policy to make sure that it matches the campaign. Obviously, it's not matching where the campaign was in the primary.
Well, these are going to be in Trump ads and Republican ads, within days. But here's what's interesting about this. None of this is surprising. If somebody had asked you about Trump, do you think he talks like this in private? You would answer, of course, yes. But it's hearing it. This is what video, audio evidence does. Once you hear it, it becomes information of a different order. The same with Hillary. Everybody knows that on every issue she has a private position and a public. If they intersect, that's nice. But if it doesn't, that's the way she operates. But when you hear her say it, admit it, say it in a speech in public, it becomes evident. So I think what this is going to do is going to increase the negatives on both of them. It's going to make it, without a doubt, an election between the two most increasingly unpopular candidates ever. And these are of a different order. With her, it's about policy, and with him, it's about temperament and attitude towards women. And I don't think either of them is defensible in any way. It's a question of how skillfully the opponents are able to actually use it against them.
Yeah, and what we're talking about, the closer we get to the election, are we talking more about tapes of Donald Trump, or are we talking about more WikiLeaks? And so where that floodlight descends, the closer we get to the election, the bigger problem it is for the person who's under the light.
Yeah, but the draw of that audio, because it's like catnip for a lot of folks just to hear it. It's easy. Put it up.
I kind of like the open trade and open borders.
Yeah.
No, of course, I think that's going to be more sensational. But is it going to have as much legs? And also legs. These quotes, which are devastating, are from a cursory examination. Imagine what else is in there.
Clinton, quote, "But if everybody's watching you, all of the backroom discussions and the deals, then people get a little nervous, to say the least. So you need both a public and a private position. You need to balance those efforts successfully, politically." You see why these didn't come out. I mean, you see now, Lisa, why this was such an issue during the primary.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why she didn't want this information to get out. But to Charles' earlier point, what is important, information is very damaging for Hillary Clinton, but it is dependent on how the Trump campaign decides to utilize it and if they utilize it effectively. And also, just going back to Sunday and the upcoming debate, depends on if Donald Trump can successfully lay out the indictment using this newly released information. He was unsuccessful at doing that in the first debate. There was a lot of missed opportunities. So he really needs to go into Sunday armed with this, hitting her on being cozy with Wall Street, hitting her on open borders, hitting her on trade, hitting her on these issues that have already been damaging for her. But he needs to be able to make that argument on Sunday and do it effectively.
Wall Street insiders are what's needed to fix Wall Street.
Well, you know,
I mean, this is the exact opposite of what was said on the primary campaign trail and what Bernie Sanders was hitting again and again and again.
Since that debate last week, in some of these polls, we've seen the support for the third-party candidates decrease and kind of move toward Hillary. Transcripts like these are exactly what would make those Bernie supporters think twice about pulling the lever for Hillary Clinton. But I do think it's true. You have to ask yourself which campaign is more capable of maximizing the opportunity. And with Trump, he has this weakness where he likes talking about his liabilities because at the end of the day, he's talking about himself. And so we saw in the debate where he was presented with past comments he made, he's fine trying to defend them. If he gets kind of caught up in that bramble bush on Sunday, he'll be in a lot of trouble.
She goes on to talk about all she's done for Wall Street to try to help Wall Street. And I got in some big arguments defending Wall Street. It seems chock full here.
But think of the implications of the timing. If it had been released in the primaries, it would have been far more effective because Sanders was sort of arguing on all of these things. You're a creature of Wall Street, etc. Clearly, whoever is behind the leak, whoever had this all prepared, was waiting so she'd become the nominee. The Democrats are stuck with her. It's somebody whose sentiments, at the least, are somewhat pro-Trump.
Well, it's also after the audio was released this afternoon. This WikiLeaks dropped right after.
It could have been dropped,
It could have been dropped earlier, yes, but I'm just saying when it hit my space here, you know, in my world, it was after the audio had already been out for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right. Although I was quite fully expecting that we were going to see something like this in the immediate hours after that first debate as a way to sort of stop the stories being about how terrible Trump was and to try to put the focus back on Hillary Clinton. So the fact that it came out today, right after the audio, I don't know if that's...
All right, last word here.
But if you're also Donald Trump, I would use this to try to muddy the waters a little bit at a time where Hillary Clinton has been hitting him hard on the taxes angle and the fact that he's taking advantage of the little guy. Well, here's Hillary Clinton, who's absolutely cozy with Wall Street and who's making these comments that she didn't want released. And so if you're Donald Trump, I would hit this hard at the fact that she doesn't understand the little guy. Here's this elitist who in the past has even admitted to not driving a car for 18 years.
Okay. The battle of controversies and sticky situations for campaigns.